Good morning children. In today's class of NS, I am going to continue the lesson Animals and their Food question answers. Okay. All of you take the page number 30 of your textbook and try to answer the questions that are given in Improve Your Learning part. Okay. The first one that is given to you that the blanks as it is given, once we will see them and try to answer them well. The butterfly uses dash to suck honey from flowers. What does the butterfly uses the mouth part? Its mouth part is proboscis. What is it? Proboscis. What is the mouth part of butterfly, children? It is proboscis. See the spelling carefully and write down in your notebooks. Okay, it is proboscis. Next. Tiger is a dash because it eats only meat. You know very well, tiger is a carnivorous animal because it is flesh-eating animal. It depends on other animals for its food. So, tiger is a carnivore, isn't it? Tiger is a carnivore. Write the answer in the blank that is given in page number 30. Next. Decomposers are also called dash. I told you that decomposers, they are called as recyclers because they bring back the nutrients to the soil by depending on dead and decayed organic matter. Is it clear? So they transform them into the nutrients and bring the nutrients to the soil. They depend on dead organisms, both plants and animals, all the organic matter. They depend on all the organic matter and they are called as recyclers. What are the decomposers called? Decomposers like bacteria, fungi, they are called as recyclers as they depend on dead and decayed organic matter and clean up the environment and bring back the nutrients to the soil and where they are used up by the plants again and it is the food chain is continued. So they are called as recyclers. Decomposers are called as recyclers. Okay children? And the next question you can do is, the one is the source of energy for a food chain is. The source of energy for a food chain. What is the source of energy for a food chain? It is sun. Source of energy, solar energy is used by the plants. In turn, the plants are eaten by the herbivores and herbivores are eaten by the secondary produce, that is the secondary consumers, and secondary consumers are eaten by the tertiary consumers. This is the process of food chain that you have learned so far. Next, identify the omnivore from the following. Lion, it is a carnivore, so it is not an omnivore. Cow, it is a herbivore. It depends on only plant and plant products, so it is called as a herbivore. And coming to the dog, it is an omnivore since it depends on both plants and animals for its food. Tiger is a carnivore, you know very well. And the next question is, at which position of the food chain would you place a human being? In the position. What is the food chain position is in the flow of energy levels. You have seen that the food chain always starts with the producers and they are eaten by the primary consumers and primary consumers are eaten by the secondary consumers and secondary consumers are eaten by the tertiary consumers, isn't it? So we can place the human being under tertiary consumers. Okay children? Yes. Next. List some of the animals in your surroundings which have the same kind of food habit. Before entering into this, try to write these blanks in your notebooks. Okay? Come on, do it. Note down children, the butterfly uses proboscis to suck honey from flowers. Tiger is a carnivore because it eats only meat. Decomposers are also called recyclers. The source of energy for a food chain is sun. Identify the omnivore from the following, that is lion, cow, dog or tiger. You can write as a choose the correct answer over here. That is, answer is C, that is dog. Okay, because it depends on both plant and animal products. It is dog is an omnivore. Next one is in which position of the food chain would you place the human being? So where do you place the human being? Human being is a tertiary consumer. Human being is a tertiary consumer. Note down that one also. See, at which position of the food chain would you place a human being? Because you know very well that human beings also depend upon the carnivores like snakes and all. So, he can be placed under the tertiary consumer. So, let's answer some of the questions that are given in page number 30 of your textbook. The first one is, list some animals in your surroundings which have the same kind of food habits. You know very well that some animals eat the same kind of food habits. That is, you have studied that there are animals which eat the same type of food, isn't it? So they are cat and dog. They are omnivores. They eat both the plant and animal foods, the flesh eating animals also, and as well as they depend upon the plant foods too. And the next one, cow, buffalo, sheep, goat, etc. These are herbivores. They depend on plant foods only. Okay. And next, coming to hen, turkey, sparrow, or the birds which have the same type of beak, which uses the beak for taking the foods, and also they take the grains and insects as their food. Okay, children. And next, parrot and rabbits or the squirrels. They take the same type of foods like nuts and fruits, isn't it? So, in this manner, we can categorize some of the animals which depend on the same type of food. So, try to write the answer for this question, children. Note down the answer. So, these are the animals which have the same type of food habits. See, children, clearly and note down. Cat and dog, milk, bread, rice, curd, bones, flesh, etc. Cow, buffalo, goat, sheep, they take grass, grains and hay. Sparrow, hen, turkey and so on, they take grains and insects and worms. Parrots and rabbits eat nuts and fruits. Okay, children? And the next question is, compare the legs and nails of dog and hen and say why they are different. If you see the legs of dog, dog has how many legs? 4 legs. How many legs do the hen has? Hen has only 2 legs, isn't it? But the legs of dog are long, isn't it? But the legs of hen are short and stout. Whereas the legs of dog are thin and long. Okay. First comparison is how the legs of both the animals you have to write down. Then how do they use their legs in search of food? Dog chases the animals for hunting purpose, or even it paws the ground in order to take the rest. Okay, so in that manner dog uses its legs, whereas hens, their short legs, they have claws, isn't it? They eat worms and insects and grains with the help of their beak. In fact, they search them with the help of their legs or the claws. The nails are long and pointed for the hen, and they scratches the ground in search of their food. Okay, with the help of their claws. So the legs of dog are long and thin. The legs of hen are short and stout. Dog has paws. Hen has claws. Nails are sharp and pointed for dog. And for the hen, the nails are long, sharp and pointed. And the dog paws the ground that is impatiently in order to take rest, whereas hen scratches the ground with the help of its claws in search of food with the help of its claws. That is the difference between the hen's legs of dog and hen. Hope you can write well, children. So, the legs and nails of dog and hen. Next question. See, children, here differences between the legs and nails of dog and hen. So dog has 4 legs, hen has 2 legs. Legs of dog are long and thin, legs of hen are small and stout. Dog has paws, hen has claws. Nails are sharp and pointed. Nails of hen are long, sharp and pointed. Dog paws the ground to take rest impatiently, and hen scratches the ground in search of food with the help of the claws. Okay. Whereas here you can compare. This is the comparison between only the dog and the hen only. So note down this in your notebook, and next we'll go to the next question about the question is name some animals which use tongue as a tool for taking in food. You know very well. The animals like dog, cat, frog, lizard, they use chameleon, they use the tongue in taking their food. You can write it easily. What are the animals that uses the tongue to take the food? Almost all the animals like omnivores like cow, buffalo, goat, sheep also uses the tongue in order to take the liquid foods. Especially the dogs and cats, they use the tongue. And mainly frog and lizards, they use only their sticky tongue to catch the insects. Okay. Next. Identify which of the following statements are wrong and give reasons. First one is, all the animals living in the water feed only on plants. Is it correct or wrong? So all the animals living in water, you cannot say that all the animals they feed only on the plants or the aquatic plants and so, because there are animals like fish, crab, snakes which live in water, crocodile which live in water, but they eat other animals too which live in the water. So we cannot confirm this statement as all the animals which live in water depend on only plants. The given statement is false or it is wrong. You have to say and give reason, as some of the animals like frog also it is an amphibian, frog, fish, they eat other small fishes, the crocodile eat other small animals in the water. So like this, the animals which live in water also depend on other animals for food. Okay, they not only feed on the plants but also they depend on animals for their food. Next, elephant and deer are herbivores living in the forest. Is it true? Is that statement true, children? Yes, elephant and deer, they are the herbivores. You know, the herbivores are the animals which depend on only plants and plant products for their food. Is it clear? Next, elephant and deer, though they depend on only plant and plant products for food, they are living in the forest. So they are forest animals, they are herbivores that live in the forest. Okay, next. Birds' beaks are designed to suit their food habits. Is it true? Yes, the given statement is true. Birds' beaks are designed to suit their food habits. You can give the example as I said before that hen has short beak to pick the grains, whereas the hummingbird, if you take, it has long and pointed beak to suck the honey from the nectar, isn't it? So both are having different types of beaks. If you take the parrot, it has hooked beak. Its beak is so designed to crack the nuts and fruits. Is it clear? So in such a manner you can differentiate and give the reason for each question over there about the reasoning questions. Next, sharp claws are used for hunting. Is it correct or not? Yes. Normally the carnivorous animals, they have the sharp claws to tear the flesh of the animals. They tear with their sharp claws, isn't it? Yes, they tear the flesh of the animals and eat them with their canine teeth, isn't it? So sharp claws are used for tearing the flesh of the animals. Mostly carnivorous animals have the sharp claws while they hunt the other animals. Most of the food chain end with herbivores. Is the statement true? No, the statement is false. You know very well, the food chain starts with producers and end in carnivores, isn't it? In the last class I told you, the food chain starts with producers and end in carnivores. So all food chains end in herbivores, they said. The question is, most of the food chain end in herbivores. No, the given statement is wrong. Why? Because the reason is, food chain always starts with the producers and end in carnivores. As a given example, for example, grass is eaten by cow, cow is eaten by lion. This is a food chain. Food chain starts with producers and end in carnivores. But as the given statement, what it is given, that the food chain ends in herbivores, it is given. Whether lion is a herbivore? No, it is a carnivore. So the given statement in your question is wrong. So you have to give an example, one or two examples like this, and you have to give the answer. Okay, another example also you can give. Grains are eaten by insects, or eaten by or rats or insects. Okay, grass or insects, anything you can write. It is eaten by frog, it is eaten by snake. Is it so? So snake is a carnivore. So like this you can write. Grains or grass. You can say grass. Grass is eaten by rat, rat is eaten by cat, cat is eaten by fox, fox is eaten by lion. In turn, the food chain ends in carnivore itself. So like this you have to write the answer. So this is a producer and starts with producer and ends in carnivores. Starts with producer, food chain always starts with producer and end in carnivore. Hope you have understood this, children, now. Okay, how does the food chain starts and ends? Okay, the next question now. Write the importance of food chain. What is food chain? What is the importance of food chain? Food chain is the link between plants and animals for the sake of food. That is, the link between plants and animals for the sake of food is called food chain, or the relationship between the plants and animals based on their food habits is called food chain. Food chain always explains the interdependence between the plants and animals basing on their food habits. It's the interdependence on the plants and animals. It always explains the interdependence of plants and animals. Okay. Food chain balances the nature. It balances the nature also. So you have to write the importance of food chain in that manner. Food chain means the link between plants and animals for food. Clear? And next, the relationship between, can also be explained as the relationship between plants and animals based on their food habits. It explains the interdependence between plants and animals. It explains the interdependence between plants and animals for what? For food. So that is called as food chain. Now done, children, all of you? What is food chain? What does it explain? What is food chain? What does it explain? So you can also say that it's a connection between plants and animals or animals and animals basing on their food habits. It's a connection between animals basing on their food habits. Connection between animals basing on their food habits also you can write. It also describes how organisms get energy and nutrients by eating other organisms. It describes, food chain describes how organisms get energy, how organisms get energy eating other organisms. Is it clear, children? Note down. The link between plants and animals for food is called food chain. The relationship between plants and animals based on their food habits is called food chain. It explains, that is, food chain explains the interdependence between plants and animals for food. It describes how organisms get energy eating the other organisms. In fact, we can say that it is a connection between the animals based on their food habits. It's a relationship between the producers and consumers. It is a relationship between the plants and animals, I said, isn't it? It's a relationship between the plants means producers and animals means consumers based on their food habits. Note down, children. So you know very well, food chain always starts with the producers and ends in carnivores. Starts with producers and ends in carnivores. Food chain, it's maintain the balance in nature. Maintain the balance in nature. Helps to maintain the balance in nature. As it is the interrelationship between the producers and consumers. Interrelationship between the producers and consumers. The next question, children, now is about arrange the following in a correct sequence and form a food chain. So, sixth question of your textbook is given. The first one is rabbit is eating carrot, is eating eagle. Is the food chain correct or wrong? You have to say and arrange them in the correct sequence of food chain. So this is wrong, isn't it? So how to write correctly? Carrot is eaten by rabbit, rabbit is eaten by snake, snake is eaten by eagle. So write down now correctly. Carrot, it's a plant product, it's a producer. Food chain starts with producers. Carrot arrow mark represent is eaten by. It is eaten by rabbit. Carrot is eaten by rabbit. According to this chain, you have to correct this chain. Rabbit is eaten by snake. Snake is eaten by eagle. So this is the correct form of writing the food chain. Okay. And the next one, see children, the second one, what is it given? Human being, insect, algae, fish. Write down. Human being, insect, algae, fish. Algae is present in the water. It is a plant which is eaten by the fishes. Okay. So, algae, blue-green algae will be there. This is wrong statement of food chain. So, correctly, how to correct this food chain? Algae is eaten by fish. Insects. Insects, smaller insects. Insects are eaten by fish in the water. Fish is eaten by the human beings. So, smaller animals are eaten by the bigger animals. In fact, you have to write in this manner. Okay, children, try to correct the statement now that is given, the correct the food chains. So, this is the correct form of food chain. Okay, this is wrong. This food chain process is wrong and this is the correct one. So two food chains are given which are which should be rearranged in a proper manner. Rearrangement of the food chains. This type of questions will also be given in your examinations. Rearrangement of food chains correctly. Okay, note down. Next, if you want to understand more about food chain, what questions would you like to pose? What is the questions? Whatever the doubts that come to your mind, you will be asking the questions. It's very easy for you to ask the questions, isn't it? What is food chain? On what basis the food chain depend upon? What is the importance of food chain? What happens if there are no frogs in a food chain, in a environment? What happens to the food chain if the frogs are removed or frogs are extinct? Like that, you can go on giving the questions of what that arise about the food chain for you. If there are no carnivores, what happens to the food chain? What happens to the nature? So you can write. So food chain always balances the nature. If any of the organism is missing, it affects the balance of the nature of the food chain. Okay, nature of the food chain. Next, the next question given over there is about what happens if there are no decomposers on earth. You know very well, what are decomposers? Decomposers are the recyclers. They depend on dead and decayed organic matter. They break up the complex substances into simple substances that goes into the soil and used up by the plants. Thus, they help in cycling of the materials between the producers, consumers and soil. So, decomposers are called as recyclers. Okay, so they are very important to the environment as they recycle the nutrients to the soil, back to the soil again. If there are no recyclers or the decomposers, as you know very well that they clean up the environment with the by depending on the dead and decayed organic matter. If there are no decomposers, the earth will be full of dead and decayed organic matter and it will be foul smell and it causes many diseases and it leads to the imbalance in nature, or even it leads to the extinction of the nature too, of nature organisms also. Okay, next. Draw a food chain of your choice. You know very well how to draw. Yeah, I have told you in your class also how to draw a food chain. You can easily draw the grains or a grass, and you can simple food chain you can draw by the grass is eaten by the insects or grasshopper. You can draw it, and grasshopper is eaten by frog or a lizard. You can draw it easily, or even the frog is eaten by a crow, or even a simple animals. You can easily draw food chain. Okay, or eagle, anything you can draw. Next, how can you, or a snake also, frog is eaten by snake, you can easily draw it, isn't it? How can you appreciate the role of producers in a food chain? How can you appreciate the role of producers? Producers, they produce the food, they prepare the food on their own, isn't it? So we can give a very important position in the food chain, as food chain starts with the producers in itself. The source of energy, that is sun, the energy, this total energy is taken up by the producers in the preparation of the food, and that energy is transmitted to the herbivores and carnivores. In turn, the major source of energy is being produced by the producers to the consumers. So we can say that producers have an important role in the nature, okay, in the food chain too. First, try to write down these answers. Now, how can you appreciate the role of producers in a food chain? Producers make their own food by using solar energy, I said. Plants are producers. They form the food for consumers. Any living organisms which use the solar energy for preparing their own food are called producers. You know very well that plant uses the solar energy to prepare their food. That is, by the process of photosynthesis, plants prepare their own food. isn't it? So they are producers. They form the food for consumers. Food chain starts from producers and end in carnivores. So producers have main role in maintaining the ecological balance. Hope you have understood this answer, children. Write neatly in your notebooks, all of you. Write neatly. Next question, children, of your textbook. So go to a nearby pond where cranes are usually seen. Observe how they catch the fish. So how do the cranes catch the fish? Normally their food is fish. They will be seen near the pond, isn't it? They has long pointed beak to catch the fish. Write about the process of catching fish. That is, take care yourself, they said. That is, when you are having the hobby of catching the fish, how do you locate the fish in the pond? As you know very well that the insects, pond skaters, they eat other insects and they locate the insect in the pond by seeing the ripples in the pond, and the opposite side of the ripples they try to catch the insect, as the ripples are formed only on the opposite side of the pond when the insect moves on the opposite side. So this is how the farmers or ourselves try to catch the fish with the help of our nets or the fishing rods. Is it clear? So once I'll read the answer, you can easily understand how the people or the cranes, how they catch the fish. Cranes catches the fish with their long pointed beak, and some people have the hobby of catching the fish. Is it clear? Next, usually fishermen under the favorable conditions of weather go into the seas, rivers and ponds to catch the fish. They sail in boats, steamers or yachts to catch the fish. They use fishing rods or nets. How do they catch the fish? Crane have long pointed beak. How do you catch the fish, or the fisherman catch the fish? Human beings normally they use the fishing rods or the nets in order to catch the fish. Okay, they use the fishing rods or nets. Then how do they locate the fish in the water, in the pond or in the river or seas? How do they locate? What is the basis for the location of the fish in the water? This is, they detect the ripples produced in the water by water animals trapped on the other side of the surface of the water. They locate the ripples which are trapped by the water animals or the aquatic animals which are trapped on the other side of the water. They compare the ripples on the opposite side of the pond and calculate the distance and grab out and set out their net to catch the fish.